My name is Lila Hayes, 38 years old. I was once a Marine helicopter pilot, cutting through the turbulent skies of North Carolina, facing hurricanes and the storms within me. Now I live a quiet life in Boise, Idaho, where sagebrush hills roll under a golden sky, dotted with barns and grazing deer. Boise offers a calm escape from the chaos of military bases and the humid coasts I once knew, its pine-scented breezes slowing time for me to live authentically. I share this with my daughter Sophie, a 10-year-old with twilight eyes and a laugh that melts my inner frost. We reside in a modest cedar cabin along a gravel path near my grandmother's old ranch. 3 small rooms, a porch with a hill view and a stone fireplace I light on cold nights. I'm not rich by lavish standards, living simply without show. To me, money is a tool to protect what matters. Sophie and my grandmother's teaching that integrity surpasses wealth. Tonight, I sit in the living room, the amber glow of a lamp warming the cedar walls. Sophie sleeps, her soft breaths drifting through her half-open door. Before me lies a carved wooden chest, its worn edges holding my grandmother's keepsakes. I lift the lid, and the scent of cedar and faded roses pulls me to the past. Inside, among yellowed letters and faded photos, is her silver locket, scratched but bearing a clear inscription: "Integrity is your strength." Tracing it, memories surge, dragging me to Savannah, Georgia, my hometown. I'm no longer in Boise but back where moss-draped oaks shadowed red clay fields. As a child, I felt like an outsider. My father, Harold Hayes, a retired bank manager, was stern, his steely glare and commanding voice marking me as insufficient. "Lila, stand tall," he'd snap even if I avoided his eyes. I never met his expectations, unlike my sister Clara, 5 years younger, with chestnut curls and a charm that won him over. She skipped school and stirred trouble without rebuke. "Clara needs freedom," he'd say, while I, at 10, toiled on our land, hauling water and mending fences. My mother, gentle but frail, tried to shield me but left when I was 17 before I enlisted. I don't blame her, she fled his oppressive hold. My grandmother was my anchor. A World War II nurse, she had silver hair and hands roughened by care. With my grandfather, she transformed Georgia's soil into a thriving pecan orchard, quietly building wealth. He passed when I was 21, leaving her resolute. She never boasted, instilling that integrity defined a person's worth. In summers, I escaped to her orchard, her magnolia-side tales of wartime hospitals shaping me. "Lila, cling to honor and grit," she'd say, eyes ablaze. At 18, she urged me to enlist, her hand on my shoulder. "The Marines will forge you, you'll shape yourself." Those words became my compass. I remember leaving Savannah, standing in a pecan grove under July heat, suitcase at my feet. My grandmother nodded from under the magnolia, her silent faith steadying me. My father didn't come. Clara shrugged and turned away. My mother's shaky note, "Lila, you're my courage," slid into my bag as I boarded a bus, heart heavy but resolute. The Marines tested my limits. At Paris Island, dawn runs through marshy cold blistered my feet, but I pressed on. "Stand tall, Hayes," the drill instructor roared. I heard my grandmother. "Integrity is earned." Months of rifle drills, wound care, and chaos hardened me. Nights on my cot doubting her image, under the magnolia recounting hospital nights, sustained me. "Endure, not just survive," she'd said. Deployments shaped me. Hawaii's heat brought night patrols. A grenade blast near my squad leaving a teammate's blood on me, his eyes haunting me. Japan's rains taught night navigation. Through it, her monthly letters, orchard notes, faith in me, were my lifeline stored in a tin box. At 24, I was stationed in North Carolina flying rescue missions. There I met Ethan, a paramedic with dark hair and a grin that warmed me, in a diner over coffee. "You're a Marine?" he asked. We talked storms, dreams. His calm drew me in. Our dates in coastal bars deepened our bond. He shared his Oregon roots, I my grandmother's stories, skirting my father and Clara. At 26, Ethan told me we were having Sophie, rain streaking our window. We'll be a family, I said, proposing on a cliff at sunset. We married simply, no family attending. Sophie's birth, with her wise eyes, gave me purpose, to protect, to love. But missions pulled me away, straining us. Ethan's smiles faded, his complaints grew. I can't do this, he said once. I couldn't change my duty, a vow to my grandmother. My Savannah family drifted, father silent, Clara reckless. Her letters remained my light. You're my pride, Lila. Fight for yourself. At 36, a call shattered me. A neighbor's voice. Your grandmother's gone, stroke this morning. I froze, a void opening. I took leave, planning to bring Sophie to Savannah. Ethan nodded, busy. The flight dragged. Sophie clutched her doll. Did Grandma hurt you? She asked. She's in a better place, I lied, doubting. The funeral in her church was cold, my father and Clara distant. I placed a magnolia on her casket, whispering thanks. A wind hinted at trials ahead. I wasn't wrong. The will, betrayal, secrets would test me. The funeral left me with a hollow ache, as if the Savannah wind had stolen a piece of my soul. I held Sophie's hand, leading her from the church, hiding the pain gnawing at my chest. The crowd dispersed, whispering about my grandmother. A brave nurse, a self-made millionaire. To me, she was my rock, teaching me to stand when the world pressed down. The will reading was set for the next day at her lawyer's office in Savannah. I dreaded staying longer in this town of bitter memories, but I stayed for Sophie, who deserved to know her grandmother's legacy. That morning, I woke early in our motel room. Sophie slept, clutching her doll, while I stared out at the foggy streets, bracing myself. I expected little from the will. My grandmother had already given me strength and purpose, but unease lingered like a storm brewing. The lawyer's office, a weathered brick building, smelled of aged paper. Sophie clung to my hand, eyes wide with nerves. My father, Harold, sat at the table's head, his gray suit rumpled, gaze cold. Clara, in a sharp navy dress, tapped her phone, ignoring us. The air felt thick with tension. Margaret Ellis, the lawyer, a wiry woman with a steely voice, began. Today we read Evelyn Hayes' last will, executed and notarized last April 15th. Sophie squeezed my hand. My father sat rigid, eyes locked on Ellis. Clara's fingers stilled. Ellis read, I, Evelyn Hayes, bequeath my estate, orchard, investments, and accounts as follows. 50% to my granddaughter Lila Hayes, 25% to my son Harold Hayes, and 25% to my granddaughter Clara Hayes. Silence hit like a wave. 50%. A sum I'd never imagined. My father's and Clara's stares sharpened. He shot up, chair scraping. What? He gets half. She ran off to the Marines while we cared for Mother. I froze at his venom. Sophie pressed closer. Dad, this was her wish, I said, voice steady. Her wish. He snarled, stepping forward. You manipulated her with your hero tales. Clara murmured, Dad, relax, but her eyes glinted with envy. Ellis raised a hand. Sit, Mr. Hayes. The will is legal. Contest it, but stay calm. He snatched the document, tossing it into the fireplace. Flames consumed it. He shouted. Sophie shrank against me. I wanted to argue but held back for her. Then Ellis revealed a second set of papers, bound in green. You burned a copy, but Evelyn foresaw this, she said, voice firm. This second will, also notarized, states, if the first is contested or destroyed, I bequeath my entire estate to Lila Hayes, the only one who values integrity. The room went silent. Sophie looked up, confused. My father lunged. Forgery. Ellis stopped him. Witnessed and notarized. Challenge it legally or face consequences. Clara stood. Lila, what did you do? You stole it. Her voice trembled with greed. I felt only sorrow for my grandmother's fractured legacy. Enough, I said, rising. Let's go, Sophie. Ignoring their protests, we left. Outside, Sophie asked, Mommy, Grandma loved you, right? Yes, sweetheart, for my integrity, not the money, I replied, heart heavy. Back at the motel, I knew my father and Clara would fight. But the real storm came from Ethan. After the reading, we returned to North Carolina. The base routine resumed, but my grandmother's will reshaped me. Not just a Marine, but her chosen heir. The estate, valued at $12 million, tempted change, but I kept our simple life. Cabin, Jeep, time with Sophie. Ethan noticed. One night by the fire, he asked, "What about the money? We could move, get a bigger place." "I want to honor Grandma's way. Modest, not blinded by wealth," I said. He scoffed. "Simplicity won't last. Transfer some to us for safety." Unease grew, but I agreed to consult a lawyer. Weeks later, Sophie grew quiet, sketching odd images. A man in shadow, a cracked house. I thought it was grief, so we hiked, knitted, shared stories. Ethan distanced himself, returning late from clinic shifts. One night he pressed again. "Seen the lawyer?" And I said, "I won't rush. You're stalling. Don't you trust me?" He snapped. "It's about duty," I replied. He laughed bitterly. "Duty? Think of us. I'm tired of this damp shack." He stormed off, leaving me unsettled. Days passed, and I noticed Ethan's secretive phone use, his evasive answers. Sophie's sketches included a chestnut-haired man, Clara. One afternoon by a frozen lake, she whispered, "I saw Daddy and Aunt Clara kissing in the kitchen when you were on patrol." My heart stopped. Her honest eyes confirmed it. Rage and cold hit me. "Don't worry, I'll handle it," I said, hugging her. That night, I confronted Ethan. "Sophie saw you and Claire." He denied it, but I pressed. "Tell the truth." He faltered, then admitted, "It's true, but I felt ignored." "You betrayed us," I said, voice icy. He cried, but I felt nothing. I vowed to protect Sophie no matter the cost. The revelation of Ethan's betrayal left me teetering on a tightrope over a storm. North Carolina's pine forests and icy skies, once a refuge, now felt like a cage. Every corner of our cabin, the kitchen table where Ethan and I once laughed, the couch where he'd shared dreams, stung with memory. I looked at Sophie, her twilight eyes and fragile smile, and vowed to be strong for her, not for myself. The decision to divorce didn't come easily. I spent nights by the fireplace, its light flickering, searching for another path. Could I forgive Ethan? Could I save our family for Sophie? But my grandmother's locket, with its inscription "Integrity is your strength," reminded me that honor meant loyalty to my values. I couldn't live with a man who'd betrayed us, betrayed Sophie so cruelly. One snowy morning, as flakes drifted outside, I called a lawyer in Camp Lejeune. He was a steady man with a quiet voice, agreeing to meet that day. I dropped Sophie at school, forcing a smile. "Will you be home early, Mommy?" she asked, clutching her bag, hope in her eyes. "Absolutely, sweetheart." "We'll bake tonight," I said, ruffling her hair. Her smile hid worry, a shadow I couldn't lift yet. The lawyer's office, warm with bookshelves, smelled of coffee. I laid out everything: Ethan, Clara, the will. He listened, noting carefully. "What do you want?" he asked. "Full custody of Sophie and to protect the estate for her," I replied. He nodded. "The inheritance is yours, so Ethan can't claim it. But custody's tricky. Courts favor both parents unless you prove misconduct." "I'll get evidence," I said, resolute. "I'll do anything for her." The final confrontation with Ethan came on a frigid evening. Sophie slept, the house silent save for the wind rattling the windows. He sat on the couch, nursing a coffee, avoiding my gaze. I placed the divorce papers before him, their chill matching the air between us. "Ethan, sign it," I said, voice firm. "We can work it out for Sophie," he pleaded, trembling. "For Sophie?" I countered, colder than intended. "Did you think of her when you kissed Clara? When you let her carry that pain?" He bowed his head, tears falling. I felt no pity. "Sign or I'll take it to court. Texts, neighbor testimony, all of it." He stared, pain and anger flickering. "You think you're above us, always with your integrity. Did you ever think of me?" His words stung, stirring doubts about my role as a wife. But I shook them off. "I tried, Ethan. You chose to destroy us." He signed, hands shaking, and left without a word. A void filled me, but also release. I'd lost him, but kept Sophie. The second choice followed swiftly: retirement. After 18 years in the Marines, the missions, sleepless nights, and battlefield scars had worn me thin. I wanted to be present for Sophie, to offer her stability beyond my absences. I submitted my request, a hard decision. My commander, Major Reed, looked at me with regret. "Lila, you're one of the best." "Sure about this, sir?" "Sophie needs me and I need to rediscover myself," I said. He nodded. "You've served with honor. If you need anything, I'm here." On my last day, I stood on the ridge, gazing at the snow-dusted pines, reflecting on battles, my grandmother's letters, the nights I'd doubted survival. The Marines had forged me but taken much. Now I'd build, not fight. My father and Clara tried reaching out, long messages about reconciliation. My father claimed rashness at the will reading. Clara texted apologies for a misunderstanding, but I knew their aim was money, not family. I deleted their contacts, shielding Sophie from their deceit. We packed up, my grandmother's locket, letters, a photo of her under the magnolia, and left North Carolina. The cabins, snowy roads, Ethan's memory faded behind us. Ahead was a new start for us both. Boise, Idaho welcomed us with golden hills and red dirt paths. I chose it for its peace, near my grandmother's old ranch, and its quiet I craved. Our new cedar cabin nestled in a valley, its porch overlooking fields and an old magnolia I knew she'd loved. Those first days felt like two lost souls finding footing. Sophie, with her shy smile, missed Ethan but rarely asked. I filled the gap with time, planting a garden of tomatoes and lavender, teaching her archery, laughing as her arrows strayed. I turned the shed into a library, its weathered planks echoing my grandmother's era. I built shelves, hung her photo, and placed the locket in a case. Sophie loved reading her old books, adventure tales, war memoirs. "Mommy, did Grandma really save soldiers?" she'd ask. "Not alone, but she was the bravest I knew," I'd say. "Strength is standing when all falls." Life in Boise was humble. I used the estate minimally, to buy the house and fix the shed, teaching Sophie that money doesn't define worth, but how you live does. I took a part-time job at a hardware store, not for need but to connect. The past lingered. News of my father and Clara trickled in. Clara and Ethan didn't stay together. She moved to Atlanta, he to a new clinic, neither contacting Sophie. My father and Clara clashed over their lost inheritance. I felt no triumph, only sadness for my grandmother's fractured family. Sophie sometimes asked about them. One evening on the porch, sunset painting the fields, she said, "Mommy, are you sad about Grandma and Aunt Clara?" "Not sad, sweetheart," I lied partly. "Grandma fought for honor and I'm learning to live it. You're my joy." She snuggled close, warming me. But I knew shadows. My father, Clara, Ethan, lurked waiting. I began writing my grandmother's stories. War, love, and George's fields. Not for fame, but for Sophie, for us. I penned her battles, how she and my grandfather built the orchard, her nights teaching me integrity. I wrote my flaws, pleasing my father, doubting myself when Ethan betrayed me, the pain of cutting ties. Writing healed, each word a step toward forgiving myself, not them but me. I'd been too hard, chasing her image, forgetting she too erred. Integrity wasn't perfection, but rising after every fall. One day, Sophie found a tin box in the shed, filled with my grandmother's letters to my grandfather from the war. "Evelyn, I know you'll do right. I love you for it," one read. We sat in the library's dim light, feeling her presence. Those letters showed love and honor endure. I looked at Sophie, her smile, and knew her legacy lived in us. Now I stand on the porch, gazing at the magnolia. Sophie runs out. "Mommy, dinner's ready. I made cookies." She cries, eyes bright. I laugh, take her hand and enter. As we eat, her radiant smile fills me. The greatest legacy isn't the estate but standing firm. Sophie, our love, these quiet days in Boise where I found life's truth. I glance at the magnolia, whispering, "Thank you, Grandma." Somewhere she smiles. This story was brought to life by our amazing community. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to Revenge Tempest and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.